Hey folks, Dr. Hopewell here. This week in this module we are moving into reconceptualizing, rethinking education through the lens of technology. You're reading the Clayton Christensen book, and that's one take on how technology can change education. I want to also give you some practical examples because the Christensen book is perhaps more of a futurist look at how education can change in the future, but what do we do between now and the future? Let's look at some practical examples. Here at the Spearfish Middle School, we have some great examples of teachers and students doing some fantastic work with technology, integrating it into their curriculum, and creating some exciting projects that are applied for students. Now, I can't take you all there on a field trip, but I can take you on a virtual field trip, and so we have some videos. This module will be looking at the perspective of the administrator. So Don Lyon, our principal here at the middle school, will be sharing his perspective on what teachers and students are doing with technology and how that's responding to the needs of students in the changing face of education. Next module will be going into the classroom. We'll be looking at student projects, hearing from students, and hearing from teachers. So I hope you enjoy our virtual field trip.
Well, a broad stroke one is, I think one of the goals is we use the Project Lead the Way as a model or a medium to deliver information to kids. We want the kids' hands on technology. That's the #1 key. And creating a child that wants to be part of our society and learn in our society. And I think some of the most difficult things is we prepare them for another class in school, and that's not our goal. Our goal is to prepare them for something else in life, especially in the world that changes. Some of the technologies we're doing now may not be, quote, technology in 5 or 6 years. It might be completely different. And then preparing them, we need problem solvers. We need students that are actually going to go in the world and do technologies that don't even exist right now, but their brain is thinking about why it needs to do it. So definitely a tool. If it's a standalone, then the tool will be the medium that we'll get caught up on, whether it's a laptop or whether it's communication skills or something. The student needs to have something that integrates into everything they do. It doesn't matter what area. You know, science and math are usually pretty high areas of need with technology engrossed in it. But I think it creates problem solvers. It creates our students to use technology, and whatever technology is. Sometimes it is as simple as a computer. Other times it's applications, it's cell phones, it's video cameras, it's whatever may be their mode of technology. Well, I think it's made a much stronger student. Kids now know more than maybe what I did in high school, and these students are in middle school. We need a thinker, and they need to connect all the dots. Application is huge in the world. We are not creating factory workers anymore. We're not creating workers just to go out and do a job. We're having people go out and create multiple jobs, and they're actually creating jobs as they're doing a job. And it's just so key that students understand that that's the world around them, that they do not work for someone. They work within the world, and they also compete worldwide. They don't compete with people just in the Black Hills or in South Dakota. They compete worldwide, and teaming and connections, doing a video conference with somebody in China is just an everyday thing now, and working with people around the world. So our students have to think globally, and they actually have to be able to put their hands on things. And once again, they're going to be working in a field that maybe right now doesn't even exist, and we don't even think about it. So if we did the traditional ways of learn this in standalone math or standalone science, I don't believe our students would be well prepared. I think that in our programs here, especially in our school, our kids are learning multitudes of curriculum, and it should be all intertwined every day in every class. I think you can look at our kids in 2 seconds and figure out whether they're engaged. Smiles, wanting to come. Last night after school, 29 students show up just to work on Makerspace. They didn't have to. They're middle school kids. They didn't have to be here. I see kids show up at 7:30 in the morning to go to the library to jump in and work on robotics. I mean, it's evident that they enjoy it, but it matters. it's solving a problem that they care about, and that's key. I think when I grew up, I was supposed to solve problems that the adults cared about. Now kids are solving problems they care about. We're creating applications in our school that they want to do, and that's the world around them. So I just think that the engagement of the kid, and it's not technology that engages them. Sometimes people think that it's a computer. It's people, it's problem solving, and then there's an actual purpose. What am I supposed to solve, and then why? And I think when you give students that, no matter what age, they care. Kids go in the backyard and play every day and enjoy it because it's about what they care about. They think all the time. I think just making it theirs. Very little. Probably more of maybe I don't understand, or how can I be part of it? I think there's also sometimes about, I just want to learn more, but I don't know. And I would use the word jealous, but that's probably not the word. Envious, maybe? That you have a kid that's highly engaged, but they also know that, excuse me, that the mathematical part of it, that they still need that mathematical classroom to explain deep down mathematical processes. But I haven't seen, very rare to see any core content teacher. Really, it's more of a, how do you do that? How can I get linked in? What can my class do to be part of it? And I think that's where we want to continue to grow. Because as soon as that happens, then math becomes not math. It becomes part of my problem that I want to solve. And that's when it becomes really fun, I think. The technology was just a tool to help. First, you got to have great people around you. I've been very fortunate to work with great people. They drive it. Excellent teachers drive the best education. My job is to facilitate, support, challenge them to do something better. With the two teachers that we're including here, I don't have to challenge very much usually. It's more supporting, trying to make sure that they're supported. And also finding the next level. Where do they want to go? We're just discussing adding flight and space for next year. Never stop changing. Do not be afraid to risk anything, because your students want to risk every day. That is a key. Students, especially at this level, they love to risk things. And if you can challenge them to risk and learning, they're all over it. And let them make mistakes. If you do not have failure, you don't have learning. But it has to be safe. It has to be safe. It's okay. And we have to model failure, and we have to show them that that's how kids grow, that's how adults grow. That's how the largest companies in the world have created the best change, through failure. They figured out that that didn't work. And sometimes we're afraid of that. We're afraid to fail and to take that challenge. And I would tell any educators going out there, technology is just the tool to help you go and reach the world around you. There are so many technology tools, but it really takes you as the person to be willing to say, I will try, and you have to model it. Kids will watch. They watch every single adult. And if they risk it, the kids will risk it, and they'll find learning, as long as they want to be part of the whole process together. I think that the best education would be where you could challenge every single kid at their own level. And that would be a perfect scenario in every world. Still a challenge when you put 550 kids into one building and to challenge every single kid at their exact level. But technology allows it for the fact that a kid can go basically anywhere and find curriculum. They can find challenges, they can find information. We are flying through the information age. There's so much information out there that I feel at times for students that they can't even keep up with the information. So I think the biggest key is just trying to stay on track, trying to keep them going. First, a vision. And it doesn't have to be the clearest, I exactly want to be here. I want them to say, kids have asked, they've been interested in my community, they want to achieve this. Maybe kids need to be prepared to do certain tasks in the world. I want my kids to do that. And then you go out and you find programs, curriculum, other schools, whatever it may be, that kind of can help them get there. If they have the end in mind, the greatest teachers already have the end in mind. They don't always know how to get it all done, but they come with, I want to be here. And then through school boards, administration, community support, you come up with the answers of how to get that done. And in technology, you'll find the technology tool, whether it's an iPad or whether it's a tablet or whether it's a cell phone. Or you'll find maybe there's no technology tool at all. Maybe it's just about problem solving and putting together what I have. If they come in with these, what I say, the canned programs of society, then what you're doing is you're doing a program. The end result, we use Project Lead the Way, but that's not the answer to what we're doing. The answer to what we're doing is, how do we have engaged students that can solve problems in the real world and want to continue to learn? And then what are we going to do for the next? Well, I think first is look at your state education grants that are out there. You know, South Dakota has been very supportive of those over the years, whether it's career and tech ed types of grants, those are very important. I think many times teachers forget about filling out those. Usually you have to fill them out pretty early in a year. If you have foundations, we're very fortunate in our community. We have a great foundation that has helped support it. School boards, I think anytime that you can talk to school boards about preparing children for the future and not just a program, I think school boards are always on board to find things for kids. I've never seen any school board that says, no, I don't want to do good things for kids. I think it's, what is the medium? And then how does it connect K through 12? And that's one of our challenges now is, how do we spread this out to the lower levels and the higher levels to keep it going? The other thing that's really key, and in some neighboring school districts and things, you go out and look in the technology and business world, you'd be amazed what people will. We're looking at flight and space. The number one person I'm going to talk to is the city of Spearfish that just has a new airport out here. One of the best airports in South Dakota. I would guess, even if it isn't funding, there's a lot of support. And it doesn't always have to be the money. It has to be that somebody says, hey, I'll jump on board. I'll help you do this. I'll help you do that. I'll provide field trips and things like that. Your communities many times, especially in these types of things, will fund a lot if you just ask. And not $3,000 and $4,000 and $5,000 at a time. Maybe one person says, I can do $500. Well, you get 5 people at $500, you can put some money into things. And plus it's long term. And you got to be willing to tell your budgets within your own building, there's a priority. I have a priority of Project Lead the Way things. It doesn't override anything. It's just a priority. I will not ever say that Encore should be cut and core classes go. That would be absolutely the last thing I would ever do in this school. To me, it's all one. Math and Project Lead the Way to me are exactly the same. I don't see one over the other. In some schools, and that's a challenge. You have to be willing to say it's important. And also, don't be afraid to ever ask parents. The parents support this program very, very, very well in our school. And it doesn't have to be financial. Yeah, I would say there's no research out there that says this raises test scores. There's also no research out there that it lowers them. I would bet everybody would say, boy, I think it's got a pretty good chance of raising test scores, because one is interest level goes up. Now I might be more interested in math and English. It connects it to me. So now, before I may not have seen where math was important, I'm using math every time I turn around now. And so now math class becomes pretty fun. And I'm not one, I don't think I ever will be, a test score is going to drive our school. It's still one mode of measurement. There are hundreds of data points in our building that are very, 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 very important. The culture of our school, how our kids feel, our community, those are way more important than Smarter Balanced test scores or anything like that. It is truly what's the whole child. Because when they leave, the Smarter Balanced test score isn't what's really important in their life. How do they function? How do they get to work? Do they have real life skills to interact with each other? Work as a team, fail as a team. This builds a lot of teamwork. Those kids down there, good or bad, they battle in a team, just like we do now in life. And I think it supports test scores. I would go any time to say, but I wouldn't ever have data to say. Absolutely. We put in a laptop initiative 9 years ago, I think 10 years ago now in our high school. I think they would say, boy, it's just helped us get better every day. But I couldn't prove ELA scores went up just because of that. I just think it gave us more opportunities to have information, better learning opportunities. Well, I can give you an example of Mr. Daggett and Mrs. Bowerly have very rare incidences of behavior issues. And if those kids have the opportunity of makerspace or their classes taken away, it would crush the student. Now, how many times can teachers say that the kid taken out of my class would crush them? Sometimes they might say, great, I don't have to go to class. These kids do not want to leave that class. If they were sent out for a discipline issue, which is extremely rare from those two, the student would do anything to get back in. To me, that tells me it's extremely important. Kids come in, 29 kids come in for makerspace after school. There'll probably be more, but I can't fit more in there. That tells me right there what's important. Students, lunch times want to go down and work on things. Kids are getting apps on their own phones to work on. There's kids talking about it at lunchtime. To me, I think it works on flip on the other side of behavior. You don't want to get in trouble because it's a privilege to be part of this. And as you ask kids, I would believe that would be exactly what they say. Oh no, this is very, very, very important. I don't want to be out of this classroom. And they don't, that's what they want to do. They think they're playing. They really believe they're playing. I've had kids and you go by and they're, Mr. Lyon said we should stop playing. And they're actually doing the curriculum of class. What better way to teach a child than play? Feature that it's not a program, it's people. It'll always be people. 75, 100 years from now, it'll still be people making great things for kids. It's not technology. Technology is a tool that's ever changing. I hope when our kids leave this middle school, they're prepared for Spearfish High School, but they're actually prepared for something outside of here. Don't care if it's military, I don't care if it's a job, I don't care if it's Black Hills State, something outside of here that they say, I learned this and I'm a better person, whether it's being a better mom or dad or some, and I believe all this leads to that. When you go down and see computer science apps, those kids are problem solving real world problems. And some kids, their world is way different than the next kid. But that app means a lot to them that they're coming up with. And so I just think our kids care. Kids do care. Kids are the greatest entity, and they're the only future we have. Kids are the only future we have. And they're great if we want them to be great, if we let them be great. Mandated programs and putting them in corners of classrooms, that's not learning. A school that they get to run and be a part of is the future. Just like what we wanted, but maybe we didn't always have that opportunity. I know I didn't. I would love to have this opportunity as a kid. So that's kind of what we're trying to do. We try to make opportunities for kids that we would have loved. And I think you have two teachers that are doing that every day. They're making things for kids that they love to do. So,
thank you very much.
You betcha.